Hey, hello there, I'm Paul. So the title of this video is, are you complicit in your own negative outcomes? And that might be hard for some people to respect. So what does complicit mean? That means that you basically are part of and involved in what's going on. So it means that some belief, some unconscious facet of yourself is basically drawing those negative outcomes in for some purpose to teach you and to learn facets of yourself that maybe are in your shadow, are in, this is what we call shadow work, but are in your subconscious mind. We're programmed in from your parents, from school, from government, from religion, from God knows what, your exes, your friends, your company, etc. So, complicit, that means that I'm partly to blame. Well, this goes back to our idea and foundational principle of awakening called self-responsibility. To accept responsibility for your involvement in your outcomes will set you free. It may be ugly, it may be uncomfortable, it may make you sad, it may make you want to scream, it may want you to project at somebody else or be triggered, but when we ultimately accept self-responsibility for our part in what was created, then things can begin to change because we'll make new choices. We'll have better vibrational beliefs about ourselves and the world, and no longer do we have to have negative experiences show up to teach us. All of a sudden we'll move out of our learning and complicity phase and move into a phase of self-love, of one where we choose better outcomes because we now know that the old outcomes don't serve us. And a lot of us, we're completely unaware of it, but we're addicted to failure. And that might be real hard to understand. I can only speak from this space because I discovered I was. And it was a complete reason for why things weren't working out, why relationships weren't showing up, why I was getting the same women, why I was getting failures in businesses and my work to try and get into the world and shine light into the world. Because I didn't have confidence in myself. I didn't have the courage to be able to face that my beliefs set my reality. So what I think is possible, and the only things that I think are possible, are probably the only possibilities I'll get. And in those odd occurrences where something else filters through, it's basically just telling us that there's something blocking us and it's time to get really real with ourselves. Start to become aware of the part we're playing and the beliefs we have programming running in our head over and over and over again. Saying something like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or this never works out, or whatever, guarantees it sets the reality before you even get a chance to have that reality show up. But that was the past you. You're a new you. Imagine yourself as someone that's changed, someone that's become aware, someone that's done their shadow work, looked inside, and basically is starting to say, okay, this pattern keeps happening for a reason. Not because I'm not worthy enough or whatever the world will try and teach us that keeps us in a loop of trying and expecting and hoping and not sure of ourselves, etc. We are moving into being self-creators, infinite creators, God source creators, whatever words you want to call it, but creators that basically are creating a reality that serves you instead of everyone around you, or keeping you a loop of negative outcomes and unhappiness, which feeds the darkness in this world. There are beings in this world that are based completely on negativity and in shadow that love to see people mad, angry, fighting with each other, frustrated, etc. And your parents were, if your parents are still doing it, I'll call them victims to it, but everybody's been subject to this stuff, and a lot of people just don't know or are not consciously aware enough to be able to say, okay, no, this is happening for me, not to me, and basically we can take our power back from it. We no longer are victims. We can start to move above. We can start to love ourselves. We can start to expect better outcomes, and they will happen. It's very weird to basically have thought our entire life, from everything that our parents have ever told us, etc., that this is all we can expect, this is all we're good enough for, this is all that can happen, this is all I'm worthy of, blah, 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 blah. You insert your story, your program, your game of complacency, being complicit with negative outcomes for yourself, and start to own it and say, okay, this isn't serving me, this is kind of ugly, and I deserve better. Do you deserve better? Ask yourself right here and right now, do you deserve better? I certainly do. So I'm not allying with these negative thoughts, these old things that kept happening and kept circling around and keeping me trapped, to keep myself small anymore. I'm making a choice to rise up, to climb to the top of the mountain, to own my power, and start to realize there's a better way. We were just trained out of it. We were never told it. It can be in your brain chemistry, in the stuff they put in our food, in our water, etc. That's all turning us into, I don't want to use the word sheep, but that's one way you could describe it, but turning us into potatoes. And just think of yourself as a potato or a plant that just gets watered regularly by the news, by the story, by the program, by the software. And look at the shit that they pour into your ear every day. They want to fertilize you so that you'll grow as a plant, a house plant. Have they used that name before in recent history about leaders and other things? So they want you to just basically take whatever shit you pour in your ear and be okay with that. Believe it, trust it, everything. And you're going to find out the more and more you test your reality, the more and more you test the beliefs, the things that are fed in your ear, etc., the less and less those things are serving you. And the more and more they're keeping you covered in shit, and you can't figure out why you can't get out of the shit because you believe the shit. So I'm going to ask you to be consciously aware each and every day of your thoughts. What are my thoughts right now? When things are feeling heavy and you're kind of slumped down, I feel this all the time. I'm still doing this work. I'm not an expert at it by any means. I don't think we ever become experts at it until we've fully transcended this body. But we're in a program, we're in a story. Listen to the word I just said, transcended. So if you break that down into its root words, transcend. End the trance, end being hypnotized, end being in a program that makes you believe that this is serving you, but it is not. The only person that can choose to be out of the trance is you. And that's what you consciously feed yourself with. What do you put on TV? What do you put in the music? What do you watch on Facebook? What do you do? All this kind of stuff. You will ultimately have to make a choice and say, I'm not feeding myself with that crap anymore. Fear porn, memes, video games, stuff that just basically puts us into a trance all the time. Look at all the things. Alcohol, drugs. I'm not talking sacred medicines. I'm just talking like heroines and cocaines and oxytocins or oxycontins and other things that basically just put us in a loop in our head and really don't serve us, but they just keep poisoning us and keeping us in avoidance. What's a job? Busyness, running around, trying to make your kids better, taking them to soccer, ballet, all the things that the world will say that our kids need, but they've forgotten how to play. They have no time to play. They got to do homework. They got to go to soccer, and then they got to come home and then brush their teeth and go to bed. Kids are in the same loop and cycle as us. And then at school, they have no free time. They're just basically, they get a little bit of recess so they can run some of their energy off so the school can control them, but they're forced to sit quiet in a desk and do exactly what the teacher says based on a grading system, grading on a curve. Don't even get me started about that. A curve basically will pull a really bright student down to an average student just to normalize the classroom, to make everybody feel equal. You want your kid feeling equal to the other kids that that are not having a good time, that are not in high vibration, that are not loving themselves? No, it's just a big, twisted, perverted game to steal love, to steal our children's independence, their play, their fun, their freedom, their innocence, their purity. So that was part of your past too. So you believe, oh, I got to serve the system and I got to do this nice thing to the teacher even though she's a bitch and having a divorce and blah, blah, blah. So you have been forced into complicit without your conscious knowing because you believe some stuff and you didn't know or have example of any better. So sit with it, meditate on it, just mull this over. The seed is planted, the awareness is there, and you're going to be surprised what you find on the other end. I love you. I hope this helps. We'll talk more soon.